into the AfterBuzz TV product and really haven't seen a lot in return.
Nope, not yet.
But one of the ways you guys can actually help us is by tuning into our new reality show, Chasing Miriam Gonzalez. It premieres Tuesday, March 18th, 10 o'clock, 9 p.m. Central, and features me and Maria basically bickering, fighting.
No, it's not just bickering and fighting. You get an inside look into my life, behind the scenes.
You'll also get a behind-the-scenes look at AfterBuzz.
It's really funny. It's not just bickering, and it's not fake either. So that's actually something
no.
to think about.
It's definitely not fake. It's definitely not fake. But please tune in to Chasing Miriam Gonzalez on Oxygen, Tuesday, March 18th at 10 p.m. All of your support will help AfterBuzz because Maria certainly won't.
So rude.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Miriam Gonzalez and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Good Wife After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Good Wife After Show.
We are back! Oh, The Good Wife. We are back finally after all of the award shows and everything that put us on hiatus. And what an episode to come back to. It is episode 13. It is Parallel Construction, bitches. I am your host, Courtney Henderson, and here with me I have the lovely
Miriam Gonzalez.
Yes, we cannot wait to just kind of dig right in, I suppose.
Yes.
Well, we figure we should just start at the beginning. The very first thing we see is Alicia at her house with her kids, and Charles Lester comes to the door.
Knock, knock. They think that he's, there to pick up laundry. Turns out he's there, the bearer of not so great news. They find that Lamont Bishop has been arrested, and he is at the Lake Street station. And there's a bond hearing at 10:30 in the morning the next morning. And I love how he is just very unorganized with his little Post-it notes.
Oh, he drives me crazy with that. My wife says I should get a smartphone. You should. Everyone should tell you should get a smartphone.
Well, in this episode, it's probably a good idea that he doesn't have a smartphone.
It's true. Well, and it's funny because it's like I love him and I hate him because he's so good at what he does, but what he does isn't good. He's a lawyer, the private lawyer for this drug lord.
Yeah.
And so, he just, what's your name, Zach? Oh, I had to come to your home, Alicia. And it's just, he's not saying anything threatening, but there's just this sort of bad demeanor, negativity that he just kind of carries with him that's just sort of this like intimidating, threatening demeanor, I guess. And I mean, obviously that's why he is the successful lawyer for this drug lord, because that's exactly what he needs. He can't break the law. He can't actually threaten, etc., without maybe it getting caught eventually. But he's able to get what he needs from people. And then I guess the next thing I want to talk about is Marilyn, because so far, we have not liked her this season. And in the episode or two prior, she kind of started to be a little bit in the good graces because we find out the baby's not our Peter's, or we're pretty sure.
Yeah.
But she just gets kind of pulled into this van on the side of the road.
Yeah, which was a little scary.
I felt for her. I don't like her, and I felt for her.
I did too. And she wants to do the right thing for Peter. She really, really does. But she kind of gets roped into this van, and the pressure gets put on her. She finds out in this episode that she's the one person that could really get in a lot of trouble if she doesn't say something. And she does. I thought for a second that she was really trying to make a conscious effort to go to Peter to make this right, to get in his good graces. But we find that he's been avoiding her. and she's now been put in a position where she has to do the right thing.
She has to do something.
Yeah.
And in this case, it looks like the right thing. And I think that's a thing that I do find myself liking about her, is as much as sometimes what she ends up doing just seems so annoying. You know, Eli is so annoyed with her and upset because she won't just change everything like he wants with this report. But at the same time, she's trying to do her job, and she's trying to do it right and honestly, and that's what they brought her in to do. And so she's just trying to get the right information so she can make a conclusion. Maybe Peter is completely clean. Maybe the report would be completely in his favor, even with all of the information they're trying to get, or that they're keeping from her,
Yeah.
you know, that she's trying to get. And, you know, we'll never know if those conversations never get to take place. And I'm thinking now, because of this Nelson Dubeck that pulled her into the van, and his hunt to figure out what's going on, and to, it sounds like, place the blame on the conspiracy of the Florrick campaign, to basically just kind of get him arrested and find out, and they're using Marilyn to do that.
Now, I don't remember, because I mean, God, we've been gone for so long.
So many weeks.
Has Peter seen this video?
Yes, okay. He saw it. I believe Will found it. We still don't really know anything about how he found it. But Will took it to Peter at the hotel before he found out he was governor. I think it was last season even.
Yeah.
That happened. And so Peter saw it. Or did he see it?
That's the question.
I don't remember now, actually. I don't think he did. He knows there's something, that it exists. But I think he opted kind of like, I think so.
I think he opted
because
not to
I think
see
Will
it.
kind of told him, you know, as your lawyer, I have to bring this to you, make you aware of it, but I can't force you to watch it, obviously.
Which I think could save him.
I hope so, because Peter's been through enough. And yeah, he did some stupid bad stuff, but that was, you know, season 1, season 2. I like him. And Alicia chose to stand by him. And I think he really is a changed man. And I don't think that he had anything to do with it. Even if these really are voter frauds or fraudulent ballot box stuff in his favor, I don't think he had anything to do with it. I love these writers. I kind of think that in the end, it won't be. It won't, like, they'll find out somehow that they weren't stuffed with his name, or that somehow they were they had never ended up being used, or so, you know, just that it kind of becomes
insignificant.
Thank you. Inconsequential. I don't know what word I'm trying to say. We'll go with insignificant because that's English. Goodness. But in this Nelson Dubeck's investigation, it kind of tampers with the whole reason Charles Lester shows up at Alicia's house.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of, well, that's the whole parallel construction thing where one case is sort of feeding information that allows another case to kind of have evidence.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see how these align, and still how the writers are keeping Carrie and Alicia in the courtroom constantly with Will and Diane.
It's such a circus now with them all sitting at the table. And I love how when they go in to go see Judge Kluger, I mean, they're always in his presence, which is hilarious. And it's always a circus. And now they've added, you know, Charles Lester to the mix. And it's just ridiculous. And it's so funny because when they have, you know, the other attorney, you know, at the other table, he's like, you know, do you have other attorneys with you? He's like, you know, just the what did he say?
Me and Justice.
Exactly.
I have justice on my side, Your Honor.
Exactly. And it's just become kind of like a laughing joke now.
Yeah.
That
The judge even said that. I wrote it down. He said, this is a full cast of characters, like a clown car.
Yeah.
With all of them sitting at the table. Kind of on the same side. Oh, and that's the thing that's funny is, in a couple cases now, like they're on the same side. They're, you know, but they're not working together, but they have to because they're all against I hate saying the government, but they kind of are.
Yeah, they're all representing some piece of the puzzle for each individual.
Yeah, and I guess that's what happens when you have a bunch of lawyers in a law firm, and some break off and they start to take clients or parts of the business, because he has his drug business or his illegal business and his legitimate businesses, and they represent different parts of that. And with that, with again, Charles Lester, and with the aspect of the case that is the Lamont Bishop side, that everybody thinks is what the government's actually after, which they're not. We kind of get a little bit of the behind the scenes, so we get to see that that's not what they're actually after. But I thought it was irritating to me, clever but irritating, when they did the whole, when they found out that there's a leak.
Yeah.
That somehow somebody knows, and so, we're able to find out about the wiretaps. They think it's the DEA, it's really, the NSA.
Yeah.
Whatever those things mean. And they do the test, and it's Alicia's time, the drug drop test with the pancake mix. How clever. I was so happy. When they pulled him out, though, I just kind of felt like there's no way. He's complying. He's too relaxed for them to really have that much cocaine just sitting in the back of his car.
Oh, no,
he would never transport that way.
It was the perfect setup, in fact, and on how they were able to pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they got into the elevator and they said, the leak is coming from your office, and we need to figure out who it is. And they go and they investigate all of the different people, like
Mm-hmm.
who it possibly could be. They find out that Robin has a connect at the Treasury office and had lunch the day before, and they try to pull it apart.
Yeah, Carrie has some old friend from college or high school that is linked to.
And naturally, they're attorneys and they're all investigators. They're all going to know someone somewhere.
Right.
And it's easy to slip and talk about a case with a friend. It's bound to happen. It really, truly is. Now, whether they're going to, release any information, they're not allowed to
Yeah,
ethically.
and they know their jobs. I mean, they know where the line is as far as what they're allowed to say or talk about, or the verbiage they're allowed to use to talk about things. And I loved it too, because it was just so rude when they pull Alicia into the elevator, and you see it all closing in and shutting, and Carrie's just standing there, like being shut out of the elevator, like, okay, I guess I'm not invited to this conversation.
Yeah, because they trust Alicia. She's the trusted partner, especially when it comes to Lamont's business. We see that there's been an established trust over the years and over time, especially like when they came and arrested Lamont Bishop at his house with the child and everything that went down.
She took his son away upstairs to kind of get away from it. It's so interesting too how it's. Obviously, she's the lead of the show, so things are going to kind of be focused around her. But she's kind of always the one with the special circumstance, and the special circumstances that you don't necessarily want to have. As another lawyer, you'd almost be thinking, I'm kind of glad that I'm not the one that they trust to talk about his illegitimate businesses to, or with the Colin Sweeney and all that stuff with the murdering his wife or whatever it is. It's like, I don't actually envy her role in these cases. You know what I mean? I would much rather be on the Lockhart Gardner side, representing legitimate businesses.
Yeah.
Instead, and not having them come to my office and questioning my lawyers looking for a leak. I did really like the introduction of, I don't even know what to call them, other than like nerds or geeks, which I kind of feel bad saying that, but the two guys that are listening to all the wiretaps.
Yes. And in fact, I almost forgot about them.
I'm loving this little dialogue between them, and I can't wait to see how intertwined they do or don't get, because they're clearly, I think, the way that they're introduced into this episode, I clearly think that they're going to be around for a little while, and something with them is going to happen as far as someone's going to get caught or one of them's going to mess up, or and that's how everybody's going to kind of figure out that the NSA is the one doing the tap, and in fact that it's for the Florrick voter fraud.
Yeah, and they brought them in several episodes back when they started.
Yes, you recognized them.
Yes, they brought them in several episodes back when they started investigating the voter fraud, and when they tried to figure out, how they could kind of, how they could nail Peter.
Yeah.
And so, and it's interesting because in this episode, they started to really kind of put two and two together. And the fact that the DEA kind of joined in on this is how they started to nail Lamont Bishop with his drug drops. And, you know, the fact that Alicia, they picked up on it. And I really thought it was funny that when Alicia picked up on it and they went and they got new dummy phones for the entire firm, and then Carrie did the right thing, goes to Diane and Will and to Kalinda and says, look, hey, you guys are being, you know, the DEA is listening to you guys too. They send Kalinda to Carrie, and of course, now they're adorable together. They don't trust each other.
Carrie and Kalinda sitting in a tree. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw them under the covers in the...
Yeah, they're so hot together.
In Carrie's place, or, you know, whoever's home they were in.
Yeah, they're totally cute together, but they don't trust...
They're never gonna... Well, I want to say they're never gonna work because they don't trust each other, but I guess if you have some mutual understanding there, maybe...
No, it'll
maybe
never...
that works.
It'll never work.
For what it is, though. Not as, like, an actual relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't... I don't think that they actually...
It's an attraction.
You know, yeah, they're not in love with each other. They might love each other, but it's more in a platonic way. Yeah.
It's a lust.
Yes.
It's a lust affair.
So
and it's a way for them to each get information out of one another, which is why Kalinda was there. And she goes and probes him to find out whether he's lying or not. And he wasn't. He says, you know what? It's they're totally listening in on you guys, and you need to know that. She goes back to Diane and says, look, he's lying. He's absolutely lying.
Here's my question, though, is do you think that she knows he was telling the truth?
No.
You really don't? You think she thinks he's lying? Yeah. Because it's just not like her to not get the truth.
They don't
trust
what I mean? Each other, though.
She always... But I just feel like there's just a part of me that's like, maybe this is her way of trying to show him you can trust me, because... she went back and kind of told them, no,
but the thing
don't worry about it.
She wants so badly to have the trust with Diane and with Will that she wants to give them the right information. And for her to go there and say that they're lying, you could see with the NSA guys when they were listening in, which obviously they are, that it was a laughable situation.
I mean, and what a freaking cool job. I think, I guess, when you're working on a case like that with interesting conversations actually happening on a wiretap, but I was sitting there and I was like, if I could just sit and listen to conversations the people had without them knowing that I'm listening, and, you know, they can just talk freely like that. I'm like, that would be kind of an interesting job to have.
It is.
I think I would like it.
I would say this. It'd be interesting depending on the conversations that you're listening to. People have a lot of dumb conversations.
But you think, I mean, they're obviously not out there wiretapping anybody for any reason. You know, they were targeting specific people for specific reasons. And I would imagine most of those reasons are going to be pretty interesting. Yeah. Although I'm sure I could go like shadow for a day and I would be proven wrong like so fast. I would just sit there and be like, this is what you do all day? You just sit here?
Yeah.
But they make it look good. Maybe it's because, you know, it's in TV, but those boys, I'm just like, how interesting. And their banter together. I really like them. I hope that they're in more of I guess I was going to say more of the season, but I mean, 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
So I hope they're in both. I think they will be.
It's definitely going to be interesting as everything unfolds, especially because they're getting a lot closer now to finding out the information it is that they want. And we see that as, you know, we saw that Marilyn gave them the information that they need. And now the public,
the Office of Integrity,
Office of Integrity offices, they now approach Alicia with the information, and you know the interaction between Alicia and Nelson Dubeck was interesting because he was expecting a bigger reaction from her that she just did not give him.
And she's so good at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's from being a politician's wife or being a lawyer.
I think what happens at this point is once you've been exposed to all the stuff she's been exposed to.
True. And a lot of it with the public watching.
Yeah, and you're not
so vulnerable
anymore.
That's true. That's true.
You're like, once you've shed a tear and once you've been hurt, it's like, what do you want me to do?
Well, and that's true because, I mean, seriously, once you have had to stand in the media publicly because your husband slept with a prostitute and the whole world can know that, really, like, what could be worse?
Yeah.
You know, like, how could somebody hurt you once that's happened? It's like, go ahead, try me. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
he was expecting her to be like, oh my, it's like, what do you want? Like, I deal
Yeah.
with criminals, I go in front of judges now, like, you know.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Exactly. And, you know, the thing that became interesting is when he says to her, like, you were his lawyer during this time. You could go to prison for this. You need to think about it. You have children now that this could be affected.
And that's what I'm talking about. Well, because that's kind of the same thing that Charles Lester does.
Yeah.
That whole, you know, how's your son Tyus doing? How's your daughter Scarlett? You know, just letting him know that I know your family. I know where your you know. And that's kind of the same thing that Nelson Dubeck was doing to Alicia with get your affairs in order and, you know, you have kids.
Well, think about this. Now, with him saying that, now remember this. Do you think it could possibly affect Zach because he was working in that voting?
In the office? Oh, well, I don't know. Because
where the voter fraud took place.
Oh, that he voted there.
No, not that he voted there. He was working in that voting office during that time where the box was tampered. Could Zach be faulted?
Implicated?
Yeah, implicated.
I hope not. I mean, I don't think so. I think Zach...
Because didn't Zach report it?
Yeah, well, but he wasn't working there. He just went to vote there. I thought he was volunteering. It was a little old lady who worked the booth. Because don't worry, everyone. In the hiatus, Courtney went back and watched seasons 1 through 4, every episode, because I had no new Good Wife to latch on to. So, yeah, he voted there and he like took a picture of the ballot, and then he went and he took a picture of the box because he saw like the tear on the box. And there's some guy standing there, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You can't take a picture of this." He's like, I already did. You know, he texted it to his mom, and because it was in early voting.
Yeah.
So the fraudulent votes were in early voting, and then they found out, unless this is a different box, but I think it's the same one, they fought and fought and fought to get those votes to count because they thought those votes were the difference between Peter like winning or not. But then he ended up winning by so much that those votes, even if they'd been thrown out in the end, they wouldn't have mattered. Peter would have won anyways.
Gotcha.
And I think that maybe that's part of why they're still going after him.
Yeah.
Because if he got caught potentially there, maybe more of the votes were, and so maybe he shouldn't have won. I don't know. And it'll be interesting. It looks like they're going, you know, a basketball term. I don't know why this comes to mind because I don't watch basketball, nor do I play it, but like a full court press on this Peter investigation and on this voter fraud. And maybe it's because, I mean, as writers, they're smart. I've always loved the writers for this show. They're kind of intertwining everybody because Peter's governorship and Peter's election brings Peter, Marilyn, Eli, Alicia, Zach, Lockhart, Gardner. I mean, everyone was involved. Will was involved because he represented Peter. Like, everyone was involved. And so if the investigation's on that, then at some point everybody's going to get that interview. And we already saw he went to Marilyn, he went to Alicia, he went to Will. It's only a matter of time before he goes to Eli or maybe Zach, like you're bringing up.
Yeah.
And, you know, and all these people have to talk about this. I mean, it'll be interesting because we saw Will get the subpoena.
Yeah.
You know, so he's going to have to talk. But I was pleasantly surprised that he stood his ground. I mean, that with all that Alicia's done, that he's taken personally, that we've seen in the past few episodes, as far as her leaving the firm, you know, and before that, choosing Peter, even in the few instances that Will, you know, a little bit opened up, I still feel like he never came out full force and was confessing his love and kind of saying, like, I have a plan, or let's make a plan, I'm in. He never did that, but he definitely gave opportunity to maybe start a conversation like that, and she just never bit. And he's still, through all of that, he's not talking. And so is he just kind of like Peter? Is he a changed man, like trying to like play a clean game?
Oh no, I think he's saving his behind. He has a lot to lose if he if he opens his mouth about what he's found, he has a lot to lose.
And I'm really curious. I don't know enough about the law. I'm really curious to see how this plays out because, I mean, I know he has a lot to lose, but what did he do wrong? He found a video, he showed it to his employer under attorney-client privilege, so because they don't really know what happened. I mean, all you see is a box. I mean, I say all you see like it's no big deal, but really you see this box come out of the back of a van, looks like a voter's ballot. I can't talk today. A voter's ballot. I'm just like alliterations. And you see it, two guys carrying it into the building where Zach voted for the early voting. And that's all we see, and I hope Marilyn gets a chance to kind of help clear the air. I think that this NSA guy, Nelson Dubeck, is going to be around, and I think I'm going to like him least of all. Because already with the van, he's just kind of a menace. I don't like him at all.
No, and it was interesting when he went to the NSA and they had that audio of Alicia and Eli talking about Will having, knowing about that information. I mean, it's scary that the NSA can actually,
Well, and how fast? I mean, we saw Alicia and her office get burner phones, and within 2 phone calls, they had Alicia's burner phone number because of Eli. She calls Eli and says, "I'll call you back on another line." So then they go to Eli's phone, and I mean, I don't know about wiretapping either. Is it something where you can just like plug in a phone number and it'll record?
I don't think she realizes that it's her husband that they're going after.
I don't think any of them do. I mean, they're just finding that out because when Charles Lester and Robin went to the guy that resigned, which is also interesting that he's fighting, him and honor or him and justice are fighting, and then all of a sudden he's resigning.
I think what they think is happening is they think that the DEA is the one that's tapping the phones to get Bishop.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's happening is because of the whole, the informant situation where they had the real estate agent and, she's the witness about the drop that happened supposedly on the 24th. And I like how...
Oh, I mean the 25th.
Yeah, and I like how they, Will was like, wait a second, Howard Lyman was actually with the real estate agent on the 24th.
Yeah.
And he's so cute. They're like, Alicia's like, Howard Lyman is like the absolute worst person to put on the stand.
And he pretty much is.
He is.
I would agree.
But, he actually wound up being a really great person to put on the stand. He's like, actually, I was with her on the 24th. She was showing me a property 20 miles away. And I have photographs, panoramic photographs.
I love that.
He's so adorable. And, they show the photograph and she's actually in the picture. And, they were like, Judge Kloger at that point is like, look, you can't come to me with misinformation. And that's when they realized that, hey, there's wiretaps. And that's when, the attorney Asher had to actually remove himself from the case and actually go, and he actually wound up quitting his job because now he has to admit the fact that the DEA is using wiretaps.
Even though they're not their own.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're still using them. And how interesting is that? I mean, and it's one of those things where I kind of have mixed feelings about that. As far as, I mean, if somebody's doing something wrong and it's revealed through a wiretap that's legal, why wouldn't you pass that information? You know what I mean? I get why the NSA is passing the information on. And I think that on some level, that's good because if we can kind of combine our resources, because it would be pointless for the DEA to have a wiretap on the same people that the NSA has a wiretap on the same people that the so-and-so has, and now you have 3 sets of these like geek guys or, smart guys, IT guys listening to stuff instead of just 2.
Well,
but I loved how they kind of cut the DEA off because it was going to tamper with their investigation.
Exactly.
And that's where it's kind of like, okay, maybe not. Maybe you do your own homework, you do your own work, and, if we can get a legally obtained wiretap for this reason and you have another reason you want one, then, go get it legally.
Yeah.
And do your own homework. And I think that we'll start to see this Stubeck guy and the Office of Public Integrity struggle a little bit because they're not going to be able to get any more information through the NSA.
And I think specifically the NSA is working with the Public Integrity Office for the reasons of getting the governor out. Yeah. For the fraud, and they just happen to be able to work with the DEA, but because the DEA was so sloppy with their information, it messed things up, because we saw that the judge threw out the case with Lamont Bishop because they were careless.
Well, and it's so interesting because Lamont Bishop's case, gets thrown to the wayside, and I love how the DEA, they have no idea how they got caught. Like, none of their guys leaked it. You know what I mean? Lamont Bishop's team, or he and Charles Lester are smart enough to figure out and do that test. And it's that's how guys like that are able to do the types of drug deals that they do. And sometimes it still boggles my mind. If you're that smart, I mean, you could make maybe not drug money, amounts of money, but enough money and then some, doing something completely legal, safer, just like less hours potentially, and yet they don't. Yeah. But I think some people kind of like live on the thrill of, maybe getting caught and being able to kind of stay one step ahead all along. And I think that they will, because I think that now they're going to be kind of off to the wayside. I don't think we're going to see much more of Charles or of Lamont.
No, I think now they're going to focus more on the whole the voter fraud and bringing all of the legal players into what's going to happen with the governor at this point.
Well, let's move into predictions then. We have 2 more episodes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
It's going to be rather interesting.
Yes. So what? That's 80-ish minutes to tell it all, to hook us for the next season, season 6.
Yes. I think that now it's going to be, they're going to start questioning everyone, and I think they're going to bring everyone into court. And, we see now that a subpoena has been laid down. I think that Will's going to keep his mouth shut and,
and go to jail, potentially? I mean,
They can't send him to jail. Attorney-client privilege is, legally they can't make him say anything.
What's his name? Nelson was saying that, if it's something to do with hiding conspiracy, that attorney-client privilege is waived. Although, truly, there was no conspiracy from anything we've seen.
They can't prove what was inside that box.
No. Well, or where the video, at this point, where the video came from. I mean, we don't know where it came from.
We don't know it.
And Will, at this point, the only person we knows is Will.
And Kalinda. Didn't Kalinda know where that came from?
I thought she found out that Will knew. I thought she found out that
I thought Kalinda found the video for Will.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Kalinda did take it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, Kalinda.
She's the really, really amazing investigator.
And that's why the whole thing with Carrie and the truth lie thing, I'm just like, she's better than that. She's better than to know.
Sex clouds the brain.
Yeah, so I think my prediction is that we don't find this out. I think that it will come in the first episode of the new season. Whether, the ruling will come in the first season. And I think that the next 2 episodes will very strongly lead us to, whether or not Peter did it, or, whether or not Peter knew. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we'll find out any ruling on who is or isn't going to jail. Or maybe one person will go to jail and the rest won't, But I don't think that the case will close. I don't think that the season, because they gotta hook us. They gotta get us.
Yeah, they're gonna leave us hanging. Till
shocked.
Next season.
Yeah, and these writers are just too good, or they're good enough. I really think they're good enough that they could resolve this, and then have a whole new hook in 2 episodes.
I see. You know who I see going to jail though? I see Will going to jail.
You do?
I think so.
Well, we'll find out. Stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for joining us at AfterBuzz. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at COUHEN.
You can find me on Twitter at Miriam Gonzalez.
Go on Facebook, like us, don't like us, whatever you think. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Go to AfterBuzzTV.com. We do over 60 shows a week, so if you have any other favorite shows, stay tuned and join us next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.